All right, what do you want me to say? Okay. Hello, everybody. Welcome to my channel, Jack's Gay Chats, and I hope to be informative and talk about issues of being gay. And I'd like to start with issues about coming out. You know, I didn't plan on being gay. None of us did. I planned on being straight. When I was a little kid, I would play house with my cousin when I was about 5 or 6 years old, and we'd pretend like we had a baby. And I kind of liked that. That's the way I was raised, and I thought it was kind of neat to have a family, a house, a picket fence, and a dog. Well, I ended up getting the house, the picket fence, and the dog, but not the wife. I remember being 6 or 7 years old and seeing Doris Day in movies. And for some reason, I really loved her. I thought we were going to get married. Yes, there was an age difference. I was maybe 7 and she was 37, but I figured we'd work that out. Didn't happen. Back in the 70s, when I came out, or struggled to come out, really, I didn't have any gay friends to talk to. I didn't have any stereotypes of gay males on TV or anywhere, really. And I really thought that it was confusing. It wasn't so much that I was afraid of being gay. It was that I wanted to know if I was gay or straight. And I tried to educate myself. I didn't have anybody to talk to. I didn't have teachers. I didn't have a counselor. I couldn't talk to a priest because I was raised as Roman Catholic. So I would go to movies and I would see gay movies or even heterosexual movies to look at the men and see what was attractive about them and try to figure it out. And then when I had a little bit more, was a little bit more daring, I went to gay movies and I tried to learn what that was all about. And I found it very exciting, but I still thought that I was being interested in gay life waiting for my heterosexual side to kick in, because I was going to marry a woman and have children. I remember going to the city library and wanting to get a book on homosexuality, and back then it was very difficult. The books on homosexuality were locked in a glass case, and you had to go up to the librarian and ask for the key, and she would come and open the little glass case and give you the book that said homosexuality, and that was really weird. So it was difficult. It was strange. In the 1960s and earlier, homosexuality was considered a mental disorder. And I believe it was not until 1973 that it was removed from those books as a mental disorder and became a lifestyle, which a lot of people did not accept. A lot of professional people still thought it was a terrible thing. Religious people thought it was a sinful thing, and it was difficult. Now, I remember being in high school and having several of the women that I knew in high school, the girls, want to date me, and one of them specifically wanted to marry me, and I never made any overtures towards them. I didn't feel attracted to them, although hanging out with women was really neat. I consider them as friends, as I would any person who was a male friend. And I remember even in college, there was a woman that saw me as husband material. And later when I worked for the city of Carson, in the early 70s, one of my coworkers wanted to get married. And she wrote me a very long letter and told me how much she loved me. And her name was Jean. The thing about Jean is I really liked her a lot. I liked her as a sister. She had a great sense of humor. I enjoyed going to the restaurant with her, going to movies. We would go to each other's homes. She had an apartment, I had a house. And we would spend a lot of time together talking and just enjoying each other's company. But she had other things in mind. She wanted to bring it to the next level and told me. And I didn't really give her an answer. I just knew the answer wasn't yes. And part of this was just being unsure of who I was. I never had sex with a woman, never kissed a woman on the lips or anywhere. And I just enjoyed the company. I went to a gay movie one time in Hollywood, and it was the first time I actually went to Hollywood. And so I went to this, there's two things that surprised me about this theater. One was that it was a very old-fashioned theater, built probably in the 40s, and it had the high cathedral ceilings and chandeliers, and it's just sort of very gaudy looking. And it had two center aisles. Probably there was maybe a row of 10 seats and then an aisle, then a row of 40 seats and then an aisle and then another row of 10 seats. So it was a huge place. And I was surprised when I walked in, I was the only one there. I didn't realize that people didn't go to these movies at 10 in the morning on a Sunday. But I went there and I went towards the front of the theater and I sat down on an aisle seat in the main section, and they started the movie. There were, I was there, I paid my $5 and they started the movie. And about 10 minutes into the movie, I hear the door open from the back of the theater, and I look over and I see someone coming in, a young man. And he comes down, and he sits in the same row I'm sitting in on the other aisle seat. And I thought, well, this is kind of strange. But I was watching the movie. About 5 minutes later, he stands up and comes over to me and sits one seat apart from me. I said, okay, what's going on here? This is really weird. And so I just try to focus on the movie, and then he turns to me and he says, "Can I ask you a question?" And I said, "Sure." And he said, "Are you gay?" And I said, "No." And I got up and I stormed out of there and I hurried back to my car, and I was driving back to Long Beach, and I was thinking, how dare he ask me if I'm gay? How dare he ask me? It's okay if I question if I'm straight or gay, but how come he's asking me that? I'll show him. I'm going to drive down to Jean's house and I'm going to ask her to marry me. That'll show him. So I get my little VW bug and I'm all the way to Long Beach, and she lives on the second story of an apartment building, and I run up those stairs, and I'm all out of breath, and I knock on the door. I'm ready to ask her to marry me, and she wasn't home. I came that close to really ruining my life. And I think a lot of people think that if they get married, their problems will be over, or the big issue will be over. Or even if they're gay, they could pretend to be straight. There's so much wrong with all of that. I think also that's why there are a lot of people my age who have children, that they got married to be straight or live straight, and they've had children, and then they realize that, being gay is who I am, and they change their lifestyle and finally accept that they're gay. So if I had married Jean, I think that would have been so much trouble. It would have been so embarrassing, a lot of difficulty. I'm just so glad she wasn't home. So she saved me a lot about that. I tried to talk to priests about coming out and being gay, and that didn't work. They just cut me off right away. and told me to say 20 Hail Marys and 5 Our Fathers and be on my way. I was very thankful that she was not home, and it gave me time to think about it. Am I gay or am I not gay? I even went to a prostitute in Hollywood, a woman prostitute, to see, well, I thought, well, if anybody can determine that I'm straight, it would be a sex therapist, a prostitute. And I went there and I found out that no matter what she did to me, I was simply not interested. It gave me the idea that if she can't arouse me in some way, then maybe I'm not straight at all. I'm not even bi. And then I went to Hollywood on a second trip to see a prostitute, and this was a male prostitute, and it was a massage parlor. And I'll bet that a lot of you have done that. But that told me, without even him touching me, that I was very interested. I was very excited, very aroused, and he and I had a wonderful time. From that point on, I realized that I was gay. There was no point in trying to pretend to date women or in any way like that. And I wanted to come out to my parents, and actually everybody, but my parents first. So I wrote them a letter, and I put it inside an envelope and sealed it. And I wrote on that envelope, "Do not open unless you are both together." And then I took that envelope and put it in another one and addressed it to my parents. And in the letter, I told them that I was gay. I told them that sometimes when people come out and they're gay, they leave the area, they go to San Francisco, they disconnect from their family. And I didn't want that to happen. And I know that it would be more of a problem with my mother because she was very religious. And so when I came out and they read that letter, my mom was very upset. And my dad had a different reaction. My dad wrote me back in a letter, which I still have today. And he said, "Jack, you're my son. You'll always be my son. And we don't want you to move away. And I want you to come over and bring your friends over. And we love you very much." And that made me feel so good. My mom continued to have a problem. One time she told me shortly thereafter, "I don't care if you're gay, just don't tell anybody." And it doesn't work that way. If you're proud of who you are and you're gay or lesbian, it's really important to acknowledge that, not only to yourself but to other people close to you. Maybe not at work. I know that I didn't tell people at work because I was afraid, well, maybe I wouldn't get the promotion because I was gay. They wouldn't tell me that was the reason, but maybe I would apply for a position and then just not get it, and it would be because somebody else was better qualified or something. So I was really concerned about that. So I didn't come out at work until I left city government, and then I told them. And I know I had a favorite secretary there at City Hall where I worked, and I just loved her. I loved to laugh with her. We would have lunch together, and for all she knew I was straight, I came across that way. And then after I left, I wrote her and I said, "You know, I wanted to share something with you. I'm gay." And I never heard from her again. It really broke my heart. Sometimes when I meet new people, like maybe move to a different apartment or a complex or something, I would actually find a way to tell people that I'm gay before I get to know them, because I wanted them to like me for who I really am, not for who they thought I was. And so one place I moved, my partner and I moved someplace to Buena Park, And within a few months, we went door to door and we just introduced ourselves. Oh, this is Doug, my partner, and we just moved into this house over here, and hope we get to know you better and things like that. And a couple people would actually respond positively and come over and say hello, and that was kind of neat. After I came out to my parents, I came out to everybody I had an address for. I wrote them all. It was sort of a form letter, but I tried to personalize the beginning of it. And I just told my aunts, my uncles, my cousins, my friends. And as you might think, some people found it really neat that I would come out as a gay person and be proud of it. And some people think, Jack, you're sick, this is not good. Go see a counselor, get help. And fortunately, that was just a few people. So it was really nice not living a lie. It was nice just being public. And it was very important to my life because then I could do work on civil rights, gay rights, and I could do it publicly. So that was important for me. I know with some people, there's a lot of difficulty in coming out. Perhaps they'll be ridiculed, embarrassed, and I think that everybody's different. But the most important thing, I think, is that if you're gay or lesbian, to recognize it for yourself, who you are, and that's a good quality about you. Now you have to remember, this is back in the 70s and into the 80s, where it was very difficult then. But today, and especially with young people, coming out and showing who they are, being who they are, is much easier. There are so many support groups. There are gay and lesbian centers all over the place. There are books. There are counselors who know it's okay to be gay, and it's just so important to live authentically, to be who you are, to do what you really think is right for you to do. I would encourage people to come out and just be who you are. Be authentic. Thank you for watching.